Now we have one last speaker, and then we're going to go on a little march. Our last speaker, her name is Leila. She's an SJP member. If you're on TikTok, I would very much encourage you to follow her on TikTok. Her name is Carlo Marx, makes a lot of very good content on Palestine and other subjects. So without further ado, please get up for Leila.
Whatever I say here, though, please just don't put it on TikTok. I don't want to get doxxed. Okay, ahlan everyone, my name is Leila. I want to start off by saying that I am Egyptian, I'm not Palestinian, but it's precisely because of that, because of my positionality, that I have a responsibility to be up here today. I'm here because if I claim to be someone who cares about human rights, I have a responsibility to speak out against the atrocities that are being committed against Palestinians daily. I'm here giving my voice because I have less to lose than my Palestinian brothers, sisters, and family. For them, speaking up could mean getting targeted, doxxed, losing jobs, and even losing the opportunity to ever return to their homeland if it hasn't been taken from them already. I'm here using my voice for all the Palestinians who have lost theirs, screaming for years, trying to get people to care about their humanity. I'm here because last year I met a Palestinian woman at a protest who was 101 years old. She was 29 at the time of the Nakba. She told us that she would fight for Palestine until her last breath. I'm also here because the Zionist state has harmed my people as well. My sister was arrested in Israel and detained for 48 hours without any person to contact. My parents grew up during two major wars with Israel, the effects of which took a massive toll on our country as well. Many Egyptians, embarrassingly, have abandoned the cause because of the devastation these wars have caused. But I refuse that. If anything, that should give us greater reason to struggle. We have to stick up for our siblings in their fight against oppression. That's why I'm here. But I think you should all ask yourselves why you're here. I hope that you're here out of a deep love for the Palestinian people and out of solidarity with their struggle. I hope that it is love that has brought you here today. Love and deep empathy are the only way we can continue to organize and mobilize. I am also here as a queer Muslim woman. I am sick and tired of having my identity and my agency stripped from me. I am sick of having my womanhood and my queerness weaponized as a leveraging point against the Palestinian struggle. I am tired. Tired of white Americans supporting Israel because they're the gay capital of the Middle East. I'm tired of the erasure of queer Palestinians. This narrative keeps being pushed that people have to support Israel because it's a progressive beacon in a backwards land. Excuse my language, but fuck that. Fuck that. If you truly cared about queer people, you would find queer Palestinians and you would ask them how they need to be supported. If you truly cared about women, you would ask Palestinian women how they need to be supported. But the thing is, these people don't actually care. They just want to use stereotypes and Orientalist tropes to reaffirm their imperialism. A queer ally IDF soldier forcing evictions does not change the reality of the family whose home is being stolen from beneath their feet. Not to mention that Israel routinely blackmailed queer Palestinians by threatening to out them. Our liberation is inextricable from the larger Palestinian struggle. So I'm a Brown student, so bear with me. I want to bring you all back to 2019 when Brown Divest passed its student referendum in the spring on divestment, and we're now pushing and working with ACRIP, the Committee on Financial Responsibility. We were being forced to sit through while the panel deliberated on whether or not the actions of the occupation constituted social harm. Listen to that one again. If the actions of the occupation constituted social harm, how can you debate whether the stripping of autonomy of an entire population, their confinement into what is an open-air prison, and the denial of their basic rights of equality, citizenship, and safety constitutes social harm? My heart ached for my Palestinian friends who were being forced to explain their trauma in order to defend their humanity, something that is all too often seen. The university kept doing this thing where they would say they didn't want to take sides. Okay, so they don't openly say that they're willing to support a settler colonial regime, but their money does.
Yep.
If you didn't want to take sides, then why would you invest in Textron, whose headquarters are right down there, who manufacture Namer APCs, which are armored personnel carrier tanks, Cobra attack helicopters, and unmanned aerial vehicles to the IDF? Why would you invest in Caterpillar, who sells special bulldozers to the IDF that have been used in the thousands of home demolitions that violate international law? If you didn't want to take sides, then why do you invest in Raytheon, who supply weaponry to maintain the naval blockade on Gaza? I don't know about y'all, but it seems like they've taken a clear side. And Brown is only a microcosm of the larger U.S., who funnel $3.8 billion of taxpayer money to Israel every year. The worst part about this is that it assumes the idea of sides. There are no sides in an occupation. There are no sides to a settler colonialism. There are no sides when Israel has a $20 billion defense budget and Palestinians don't even have a military. There are no two sides to apartheid. I've been to my fair share of protests and events for all sorts of causes, despite my parents' best wishes, because of course they're always afraid I will land on that website that will not be named. But I bring this up not to toot my own horn, but to say that no matter for what or for whom was being fought, I always saw kufiyas in Palestinian flags. Palestinians consistently show up to fight for other marginalized groups because they understand all different forms of oppression from their own experiences. Now it is time to stand up for them. It is time to stand up for them, not because solidarity is transactional, but because it is the only way to achieve liberation for all marginalized groups. The wall in Palestine is used to justify that on the border of Mexico. Cops in the U.S. are trained by the IDF in Israel. Tear gas used in Gaza is used in Egypt, Chile, and the U.S., and the manufacturers are Safaraland, run by our very own Warren Kanders. I refuse to have identity politics weaponized to silence me. Palestinians have been begging people to speak up for them and to spread awareness. As an ally to the struggle, I understand it is not my place to speak over, but to amplify their voices, and that is everyone here's place as well. Do not be intimidated out of this cause. You have as much place here as anyone else. I want to bring it back to the idea of BDS, boycott, divest, sanctions, if we're not familiar, to close out. I've said these words at a rally before, but I'm going to say them again. Calling for divestment from companies committing human rights violations is not radical, it's not controversial, it's what everyone who claims to care about justice should be doing. Divestment was not something that was just decided upon on a whim. It's something that Palestinians themselves are telling us is the way to help them.
That's right.
And I don't know about all of you, but when an oppressed population lays out exactly how to help them, I'm gonna do it.
Hell yeah.
And if it wasn't so effective, if BDS wasn't so effective, why would they be trying so damn hard to stop us from doing it? Thank you.
That's right.
Everyone give it up for Leila.